news show, and there's been quite a bit of news floating about regarding Anton Semenyo, a possible January transfer thing happening. So please do stick with us. We're going to get into that. There's also a bit of Manu drama because, of course, it's Manchester United,
Yeah.
so there wouldn't be another day without drama. I'm joined by Shreyas. Shreyas, you just told us about the horrific smog in India at the minute. How are we doing?
Yeah, doing, at the moment safe. No scratches, nothing. So pretty good.
Nice.
Apart from that, yeah, always noise around United. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's, you understand it a bit more as, you start seeing things on a daily with United, that there's never an uneventful day with Manchester United.
No. No. Like the other day, there was we had the 4-4, and you thought, well, that's going to get people talking
Yeah.
tactically and stuff. It's like, no, let's let these Bruno quotes come out
Yeah.
and now everybody's talking about that. And then Mainu's brother decided to wear that T-shirt, which we'll get into later as well. So it's just like
Yeah.
we can't even focus on the game anymore. It's just all the other shit around it. So yeah, we'll get into everything going forward. But the first topic, if my mouse wants to work, there we go. I want to get into is Anton Semenyo. So Fabrizio Romano, late last night, I think it was, because I got back from a show last night and I saw it on Twitter within like 30 minutes. He said Manchester United and Manchester City have made contact with Bournemouth regarding the conditions of Anton Semenyo's deal in January. There is a release clause for around 65 million in January. I think it's only for the first week, I believe, first 2 weeks, I believe, and then it's not available after that. However, it does drop to 60 million in the summer. So
Yeah.
you can save yourself 5 million if you do wait, or you can get a match on everybody else. There's like 3 sections I want to get into regarding this transfer, Shreyas. First of all, the question, like, just really simple question: do you see this happening in January at all?
I personally don't see it happening in January, because with the way things move around United, especially when it comes to winter windows, we don't really do a lot of deals. And even if we do, I've never seen United, pull off um, heavy signings when it comes to, the sort of cash that is involved in this deal. Um, at the last,
Yep.
I would say, big money signing that we made in January was Bruno, and that happened way back in 2018. So it's been quite a while that we've seen a January deal happen. But I think the club's
We've
finances
had
right
Dorgu,
now,
haven't we? But that
yeah, and
was
I think
like,
right now the club's
what, 20
finances also,
million? Something like that.
it holds you back as to how much you can actually spend. And
Yeah.
with the amount of debt that we are in, and on top of that how cash strapped we are, I doubt that United are going to pull out a checkbook and go 65 million now for Semenyo.
Yeah. So, like, financially, like I said, 60 million, 65 million in January, 60 million in the summer.
Yeah.
That is a dilemma, though, isn't it? Because you pay the extra 5 million now, you probably get a match on the likes of Spurs, Arsenal,
Mm,
Chelsea, whoever is might be looking at him. You might get a match and be able to snap him up. Maybe pay an extra 5 million in the grand scheme of things isn't that much. The other factor I wanted to bring on that thing is we've lost Mbumo, we've lost Ahmad Diallo, we don't have Casemiro for Villa, and he's also suspect to getting future red and yellow cards and stuff like that. But we're going to be without Ahmad, and Mbumo for up to 6 games, maybe 8 games if they
yeah.
get to the final. Does that mean we need to trigger something? Because this is a strategic necessity going in, because we're going to be lacking attackers, especially on that right hand side. We're going to be lacking those sort of attackers because he can play both sides. Uh, do we need to make a risk here and avoid like a collapse in that attacking front? Because without Mbuma and stuff like that, it's down to Mount, Cunha, and returning from injury Sesko at that point, isn't it?
You could say that, yes, for 6 games it is going to it's going to definitely make an impact. But I still think that if you have that sort of cash on you, I think that would be, better used up if you use it in the midfield. because I think right now, look, I understand that, definitely not having Ama, not having Mbumo is a big loss, because both of those guys, the way they link up, and the amount of goal contributions, both of those guys bring to the table, is something that we are definitely going to struggle without. But I think that, what we struggle even so with them right now is, the midfield. The moment you pick out Casemiro or Bruno, that
Yep.
midfield absolutely collapses. I think if you get someone in, who is decent enough to do the job Casemiro does or Bruno does, you could make do with, putting Bruno up in the 10, or you can go up with Mount Cunha and Sesko, and then uh try and figure out a way how you can, maximize getting most out of your attack, without having Ahmad and Mbuma around here. So I think that, in the grand scheme of things, having someone coming in into the midfield might help us secure that European spot, because right now I think the biggest issue for us is that midfield line.
Yep. I agree. Like wing backs in midfield is key to this system, and we're lacking in both areas. But just to sort of like play devil's advocate, say we do
Yeah,
sign him, say United could you go and splash 65, which again I agree with you. I don't think it's the right move. I think if you're going to spend that sort of money, midfield is a better option. But say we do, you sort of look at tactically how he would fit under Ruben Amorim and United. So the first thing is there was a lot of sort of talk about him possibly playing as a wing back
yeah,
to replace Dallo, because then you got two attacking wing backs, Ahmad and Imbumo. So he's
yeah.
thrived as a forward mainly for Bournemouth, but he's got really high upside, so an attacking wing back role. So Amarin's reported it as a need for more physical, direct runners in those positions, and his ball carrying and defensive work rate, his pressing makes him a unique fit. Do you think he can fit into that sort of a wing back role, or do you think he'd be more suited to one of the tens going forward?
I think he can play in both of those roles quite well, but I think personally that he would be shifted onto that wing back position the way Ahmad has, because I think right now most of our games, especially when you're progressing with the ball forward, our wing backs play the most decisive role. When you're moving into the final third, and
Yep.
because Ahmad or Dallo or Dorgu actually spend the most time on the ball. If you have to look at it from an attacking sort of perspective, you want your best players to be on the ball, and Dallo and Dorgu aren't that creative. You get off with Ahmad because Ahmad is
No.
technically gifted, and he's, very, very decent when it comes to scanning his environment when he's moving the ball into the final third. But Dallo and Dorgu aren't. And the moment you bring
He's
out
one on
someone like
one as well.
Semenyo,
Ahmad,
yeah, correct.
like the
And
one
with
on one is
Semenyo,
terrifying. Like when defenders are
yeah,
like this.
it's quite difficult to track him, especially now. Then you have to look at Mbumo complementing him there as well. It makes life difficult for any sort of
Yep.
fullback to actually track both of them, both of those guys. And when I look at Semenyo, I go, if he plays in that left wing back position with Cunha, and they can have that sort of a relationship like Ahmad and Mbumo do, then it's going to be very difficult for opposition teams to track our attacks.
Mhm.
The only thing that is not really settling in right for me is how how is Amaram actually going to balance it out? Is he going to see
Yep.
Ahmad and Semenyo both having that sort of work rate where they both need to drop back, or is he going to tweak the system again a little bit? Because I get that from an attacking perspective, it looks very scary that you've got Cunha and Semenyo on the same side, and both of those guys very
Mm-hmm.
relentless, but you have to balance it out as well from the defensive sort of perspective, because right
Mm-hmm.
now we are leaking a lot of goals, and those wing back
Yes.
positions come under a lot of scrutiny when you look at how we concede goals. So is getting Semenyo in helping us to balance that out when it comes to the amount of goals we've conceded? Is that, I think that's a big worry for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah. Did you stay up for the Bournemouth game, or did you watch it
Yeah,
the day
I
after?
stayed up.
Which one? You stayed up,
The
right? So
Yeah,
when I was watching it, those sort of first 20, 30 minutes was some of the most exciting football I've seen since maybe Ollie. I think Ollie was the last time I got
yeah,
excited watching United. I think that was some of the most exciting football. And I think if you threw a Anton Semenyo into that, I think it would like absolutely reinforce that style of football, which I hope is what Ruben Amorim is looking to try and do. But like you said, you are right. Defensively, especially with the younger players, I think Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro looked a bit not sure where to be because they lacked a bit of experience next to him. The likes of Matthias de Ligt, Harry Maguire. I think that is very dependent. That playing those two guys, it'd be very dependent on having experienced centre backs at the back, the likes of de Ligt, likes of Maguire. So yeah, I think it's a key thing. I just wanted to highlight some of the sort of stuff that Semenyo does offer to United. So I said he's he's ambidextrous, so he's got both feet. He can play on either wing, left, right. So he's got a sort of unique ability there. He can alternate him, so he can play him up front in the 10. So he could play with Ahmad on that right hand side, or he could be the mirror on the other side, like we said. So yeah, he's got that. He's a pressing machine. So I think the stats show he ranks him on the top Premier League forwards for defensive actions, high turnovers. So obviously Amorim likes a high intensity press, so he's going to be fitting right into that. He's also, if you look at that goal that he scored against us, he literally just runs right from the right hand side into the box and just like actually puts it into the back of the net. And you're like, this is exactly what we need, because when you have that, like you said, when you have Dallo on that side, he runs, he gets to a good position, and then he turns back and he passes it back. I mean, it's just, you just lose the attack. Whereas if you've got someone like Semenyo, he'll go down and get chalk in his boots and put a cross in. Or you might see Cunha pull out wide or pull inside, but it leaves room for Semenyo to pull in. So you've got a lot of good stuff in there. He's reached double digits in goal involvements this season, and it was faster than last season when he had a decent season. And he's actually touched on when Ahmad, he's really unplayable in one-on-one situations with Ahmad. So again, there's a lot of positives there, defensively and attacking wise. I think that would terrify defenses if you had Ahmad and Semenyo coming at you, the overlap with fullbacks, and then in front of them, you've then got to deal with Mbeumo and Cunha. I think defenses would be terrified. I think we saw that at Bournemouth when we went on that attack. Do you like that idea? Do you like that's the sound of that team lineup? Like that sort of front-footed, attacking, going for it football?
It does sound appealing, but then again, we've been sold, this sort of dream quite a lot of times.
True.
Proactive, attacking style of football. And, like you mentioned in the Bournemouth game, for a good chunk of time in that game, it felt like, that United we saw wave of attacks, and, one after another. And we were really, taking the game to them, and it looked very nice. But the whole point comes down to the fact is it sustainable enough or not? And when you're leaking that amount of goals, it becomes difficult as a fan to sort of, pinpoint areas and go that if this happened, if that happened. We've been conceding a lot of goals this season. And at least, what I'm happy about is that you've got that attacking edge. You're definitely scoring a lot of goals. And I'm quite happy to see us finally scoring a lot of goals. But I think there needs to be certain, aspects where the manager needs to look at and go, why are we conceding these sort of goals, on a regular basis? And very odd goals, you would say. And what is a bit, worrisome for me is we're not even able to pinpoint as to why we are conceding these goals. Maybe it's experience, maybe it's because, you've got players with lack of confidence or lack of game time playing in set positions. But we need to be doing a whole lot better, considering, De Ligt's been having a great season. Euro, for the majority part, has been having an incredible season as well. Shaw, for a majority part as well, has been okay for us in that area. Maguire has been quite decent. So having such players who've been doing quite well and then conceding around 26, 27 goals just doesn't, sit right.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I was getting to the comments before I do this last little bit of stuff. Does it make sense to play an inverted wing back? Ahmad has to be 10. Mbeumo can play in the 9. That's a niche fan. Honestly, though, do you both think Semenyo is going to come and play a wing back? I reckon we sack Amorim and adopt a 4-3-3. I mean, both are possible. Both are definitely possible. Semenyo left wing, Mbeumo right wing, Ahmad 10, Cunha 9. We could use Dorgo as a left back and Mazraoui as a right back. We need orthodox fullbacks and invert wingers. I mean, that's what we played under Eric Ten Hag and didn't go too well. So yeah, I'm lost with what system actually fits United at this
Yeah.
point anymore. But there's a really fascinating article by Carl Anker, a friend of the channel, who's broke down why Semenyo works, and I pulled a lot of my stats from there. So please do go check that out. It's on the Athletic. I'll put the link in the comments after this, but it's really fascinating. All right, final bit. Obviously, we're not alone in after Semenyo. Liverpool have been touted as suitors for him. Obviously, Mo Salah's fallen out. He's off the boil, so you could potentially replace him. City are interested. Tottenham have been credited with interest. He represents a really exciting signing, and it's an opportunity. I know people say 60 million is a lot of money, but in this day and age, I don't think it is. Like, I think that's about standard for an attacking player. Like, for a Premier League attacking player, I think that's about right. His physical profile, he's got tactical flexibility. Could he be the final piece of the attacking puzzle? Or do you think, like you mentioned right at the beginning, like he's the cherry on the cake? We have to sort the rest of the cake and all that other stuff first.
I still think, again, if he comes in, he's definitely going to make an impact because he offers you a lot of quality that I would say an area where we only have one player who suits the system, you get another player who suits the system. So he's definitely going to create an impact. Attacks are going to look a whole lot more streamlined coming down that left hand or right hand side. You would say there will be an equal balance there when it comes to an attacking side. But then again, we need to make it that we are going at it from a sustainable point of way. You cannot again, you cannot go into another season and thinking, okay, I'm going to buy another, buy another 10, another striker, and then Semenyo, and I got I get three other attackers as well. No, you need to sort out that midfield. You need to still sort out that defensive line as well, because clearly whatever he's applying on the pitch is not working for an entire 90, and we all know why it's not working for an entire 90. I think before you go and grab onto a Semenyo, I think you need to look at addressing other areas on that field that are big gaping holes, because I would still say
Yeah.
that even without Semenyo, we're still scoring goals. Goal scoring, at least for
Yes.
now, is not a problem for us. So I would go in and say, get Semenyo in. If we were in a position where we only scored like 15, 16 goals, then I would go on and say, okay, you need another player in there to spark some sort spark some sort of a competition, or at least some sort of enthusiasm just in that attacking line to get them going. But at least now that you're scoring goals, you can address that midfield first. And considering
Yeah.
it's one of the areas where we've not it's not something that we've been investing quite smartly in. When you look at that midfield, I think this is probably a good time to look at options and see who can replace Casemiro and who can replace Bruno.
Yeah, for sure. That story of Bruno is going to rumble on. I feel that he's going to keep going. I think he's done an interview with Rio Ferdinand today. I've not seen the quotes yet, but we'll once that comes out, we'll definitely get those quotes. Moving on. Speaking of midfielders, Kobbie Mainoo. There was some drama. If guys watching, like if you didn't see it, basically at the end of the game, Kobbie Mainoo's half brother took his jacket off and was wearing a shirt that said "Free Kobbie Mainoo," and he basically stood with his back to the pitch, facing the crowd, in order to get this going viral and basically get the message out that either Kobbie's not playing enough or he should leave. I don't know what the entire message was, but that's basically what happened. Ben Jacobs today, it was about an hour ago, on the United Stand, said, "My understanding is Kobbie Mainoo was speaking through his brother. He knew about the t-shirt and endorsed the message." Now, I spoke to a journalist today, and he said, "There's no proof, and I don't believe it." Obviously, journalists have their own sources; they're not going to reveal their sources. I personally don't think this has come from Kobbie Mainoo, because from what I've heard and the stuff that I've read and stuff, he seems like a very professional guy. Seems like he's very level-headed. And it doesn't seem right to me. And his half brother is from Love Island. He's a very much attention seeking guy. So to me, it doesn't make sense that Mainoo would approve this. But let's say that he has, for argument's sake, Shreyas. It's not a good look, is it, for him? Like, it's not a good look.
Yeah, because look, people, at least and media around United, they want to look for an excuse, just start targeting something, or just uh, create a sort of a narrative that they know that fans might latch on to. And right now Minu is I would say a big dividing factor in a sort of a way when it comes to the
Yeah.
manager's future in the eyes of the fans, because a lot of us want to see him play. I want to see him play, get more minutes, because he's definitely, he's got the
Yep.
quality, very young. And whenever he's on the field, he something just starts to click. He hasn't been that impressive, I would say, when it comes to as an overall player, when it comes to specifically talking about this system. But he's definitely got quality, and we've seen it, his meteorical rise since his debut. I think right now the timing was definitely bad, because we're already seeing a lot of rumors that both him and Xerxes are looking for their way out. Both want to get a loan out,
Hmm.
go to another club where they can get consistent minutes for the World Cup coming in next year. But I personally think we shouldn't read, a lot into it. It's not a good look, definitely. But I think the more we read into it, the more, speculations you make. And when it comes to,
Yeah.
Minu's future, I think a lot of these questions will be answered, by the January or, February time around, because you start to see whether the player is actually going to be loaned out or he's sticking around. So I think a lot of question will be answered by, with time. But to go into a lot more speculations, I think you're just either creating negativity, or you just wasting your time. We've had it. We've had
Yeah.
a whole lot of the players as well, where we've seen these sort of stories. Some of them didn't even amount to anything, because with Menu, we've not
Hmm.
heard of anything happening behind the scenes in the dressing room, of some sort
No,
of bust ups, or him and the manager not looking eye to eye, or that sort of stuff. So I think things are a lot more controlled, and maybe the media is just adding, fuel to a fire where there is genuinely nothing to even put fuel to.
for sure. I think the media likes to run with stuff like you said about Manchester United in particular, but in particular a young, and I don't want to make a race connotation, but a young black player, like it happens so often, like Marcus Rashford, for example.
Yeah,
Sterling had it for a while as well. Like it does seem to be a trend, which is sad. So again, I get this is Ben Jacobs post this. I don't believe it personally. Shreyas doesn't believe it personally, but this is news, so we have to report on it. And again, I don't want another saga, because you remember the whole, well, we've had it God knows how many times at this point. We had Ronaldo with his interview with Piers Morgan, Rashford going out and Belfast nightclub, and then Garnacho with his brother and stuff. Like I'm so tired
yeah,
of drama and stuff from family members and people around players and players themselves. Like I'm tired of it. So I hope it's not true. I really do, because if it is, yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be another one of those stories that where they just continue to drag it out again. And you're saying with Rashford, like Rashford seems like he's doing all right at Barca. The best thing for him to do is probably stay there or go somewhere else. If Cobby does go on loan in January, it might be the best thing for him. Go get some really good football for 6 months. If Amram's not going to play him, get out the spotlight, raise his profile, get in the World Cup team, and then we'll reassess in the summer. But yeah, I hope it's not true, because
yeah.
I don't know about you, Shreyas, but I can't be asked with any more player
Yeah,
drama at this point. I
not
can't
at
do it.
all. We've had it. The list is endless when it comes to these sort of news. Be it Garnacho, we've had it with Pogba, Ronaldo. The list just goes on and on when it comes to these sort of stories, surrounding players.
Yeah, it's just getting out of control. Just a quick news show tonight. There's not much going around, but I thought those two news stories were important to highlight. We play Villa on Sunday,
Yeah,
so the preview will be tomorrow. Be interested to check that out, because we have no Ahmad, we have no Casemiro, we have no Mazraoui, and we have no Mbumo. So, and we're probably not going to have Delict or Maguire either. So that is going to be an interesting team selection to who the hell is going to play in this team, and if Amram's going to change something. Keep an eye on all the socials, TikTok, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. All the latest news and stuff in there. Please do check it out. Shout out to Niche Fan, Amir Fakir, and Lumen in the chat. Thank you for all your chat and your stuff like that. I'll read out a couple of comments before we go. In Amram we trust from Amir. I mean, he's losing fans at the minute, but I hope you're right. Glory Man United forever, absolutely. I want Glasgow in for the niche round. He'll play 4-3-3, Bing, Wharton, and Gahey. Glasgow only plays 3-4-3 because he's at Palace. Yeah. No, he does. I think Glasgow's favourite formation was 4-4-2,
4-4-2.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves 4-4-2. I don't know why, but that's apparently his favourite formation. Eric Ten Hag won the AFL Cup and the FA Cup. His system works. It's just the club was in such turmoil at the time and still is. I mean, possibly. Imagine Baliba, Gomez, and Ahmad. I mean, that would be amazing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the summer and January and beyond. But yeah, Shreyas, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Always. Well, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Sorry for the quick one, but just thought get some news out, get some little sort of content and stuff like that. But yeah, please do follow the socials. Keep an eye, subscribe if you're new here, like it, leave some comments. We always interact. We're always happy to reply to comments.